After the 2.6 story, many new questions have come up regarding the 64th member of the Genius Society, Dr. Primitive. What is their ultimate goal? Why have they reversed the evolutions of countless people? Where are they actually hiding? All of these are pertinent and relevant questions, some of which I've discussed in other videos. However, one question kept nagging at me that I just couldn't really put into the other videos. A question I think most of you are likely the most interested in. Is Dr. Primitive actually a monkey? As weird as that question sounds, there does seem to be quite a few hints that suggest this very thing. And that's what we'll be discussing in this video. Before we peel back the truth behind this claim, if you want to see more Honkai Star Rail content, do consider subscribing to the channel. As you might expect, this video will have a few spoilers from the 2.6 Star Rail story, so just fair warning before you continue. I would suggest you play 2.6 first, then come back later because the story is absolutely bananas and this video makes a bit more sense once you've experienced it fully. As I've mentioned in the intro, I have covered Dr. Primitive in a bit more of a serious tone in another video where I talked about his lore, his plans, and even some theories. In this video, however, we are going to discuss every piece of information that hints at Dr. Primitive's true identity, starting off with a rather unlikely source. One of the earliest indications or hints that Dr. Primitive is indeed a monkey actually comes from Sparkle. At the end of the 2.3 story, we get a couple of messages from the Masked Fool thanking us for being involved in her little schemes. As a show of thanks, before disconnecting, she shares a secret with the Trailblazer and mentions that Dr. Primitive is a huge fan of bananas. This on its own doesn't really mean anything, but it's odd that Sparkle would consider this a secret if it doesn't outright hint or point at what Dr. Primitive is. I mean, a man's love for bananas isn't really something worth keeping secret, but the love or obsession with this golden fruit is often related to monkeys. But on its own, it isn't the proof of anything, so let's continue. As we go through the 2.6 story, we slowly learn that a lot of things related to Dr. Primitive tend to be monkey themed. For example, we learn that a large part of why Dr. Primitive is considered a dangerous criminal is because of the atavistic experiments he has conducted on several planets. In these experiments, Dr. Primitive is forcibly regressing the inhabitants of many different civilizations back to their primordial ancestors. This is done so that they may be given an opportunity to follow the right path to erudition, but for the most part, it leaves the civilizations destroyed. Because a large part of these civilizations happen to be human civilizations, what you end up with is planets upon planets of monkeys. But again, that in itself is not an indication of anything. The atavistic experiments are aimed at regressing all civilizations, and not only monkeys are left behind, but also species that share ancestry with birds or lizards. So again, the monkey theme is there, but still nothing conclusive. However, as we go deeper into the 2.6 main story, the monkey themes become far more frequent. Firstly, the main villain behind the entire 2.6 Slumber Nana debacle is a monkey, specifically Prof. Nana. You know, Professor Banana, I don't know why I felt the need to explain that, but there it is. What Prof. Nana was trying to do isn't of great importance, but throughout the story, we learn that there is a scientific research organization that follows Dr. Primitive. The structure of this organization also seems to have a lot of monkey-influenced themes. Their rankings or classifications use terms like banana visors, Denisovans, which are a type of human ancestor, and apes, such as combat or research apes. So this group that reveres Dr. Primitive classify themselves based on the different monkey types as well as go along with the whole banana and monkey theme as well. By this point, this whole banana and monkey theme seems to be too on the nose for it to just be a coincidence. Either this guy really likes bananas or it's clear foreshadowing here, but that's not all we have. In 2.6, we also get a glimpse of Rappa's own past and the experiences she went through. You see, Rappa is inflicted with a memetic virus that essentially causes her to speak or contextualize the world around her in the context of a ninja manga. We learn that her personal hunt is to take down Dr. Primitive due to her connected past with him. Each time we are shown her past, it's always shown in these overly visualized scenes, but in each one, whenever she speaks about the evil ninja, Dr. Primitive, there is always an image of an ape climbing a tall building shown in the background. While we are not shown a close-up of this figure, the outline clearly shows a monkey, likely a gorilla or some great ape. Then, at the end of the 2.6 story, as Rappa meets up with Boothill, Rekka reveals that the gorilla has managed to escape, possibly referring to Dr. Primitive. Even if you consider his name, Dr. Primitive, is almost like a hint of not only the atavistic experiments they are conducting, but perhaps even their own identity, with apes or monkeys being a primitive ancestor of humanity. Finally, when we look at the lore for the planar ornament Banana Amusement Park, there's even more references to monkeys and bananas within the research facilities that have clear links to Dr. Primitive. While all of these things individually don't clearly state Dr. Primitive's monkeyness, together they seem to be a recurring pattern that is really hard to ignore. Dr. Primitive really likes bananas, his facilities are all monkey and banana themed, his followers call themselves different versions of bananas and monkeys, and the only times he has been referenced or even shown, there is a monkey in the background. Even some of his followers are actual monkeys. It's almost as if individually these hints or points are too vague to mean anything, but viewed collectively, they clearly hint at him being a monkey. Almost as if to say these hints together strong. You know, like that apes together strong meme? Anyways, it's not really a big surprise if he does turn out to be a monkey. I mean, the Star Rail universe is populated by bipedal sentient wolves like the Borisins, Foxians, and even sentient flames. But I want to reiterate, none of these things explicitly mention that Primitive is indeed a monkey. So while I really want us to face off against Winston at some point in the future, at this point, I can't definitively say that these things prove without a doubt that he is indeed a monkey. We have not actually seen Dr. Primitive, and no one person has explicitly confirmed it. It could very well be just a person who is just enamored with monkeys and bananas. I mean, it could even be him just trolling everyone so that his pursuers are chasing after a monkey when he turns out to be something else entirely. In addition, some of the evidence of this idea comes from people like Sparkle or Rappa, who aren't really the most stable people. I mean, Sparkle is a masked fool who lies for a living, while Rappa is, as I've mentioned, inflicted with a mimetic virus, forcing her to speak or perceive the world through the lens of a now long gone manga. So at the end of the day, this could all just be a huge red banana herring meant to make us think Dr. Primitive is a monkey when in truth he isn't. Personally, I'm kinda inclined to believe he is perhaps literally Winston from Overwatch, or that mad scientist monkey from Ape Escape, but I can't prove it with what we currently know. Either way, we will just have to wait and see whether a monkey will be the next antagonist, and more importantly, if we can summon for him. That does it for this video. If I missed out any crucial information that points to Dr. Primitive's monkeyness, do share it in the comments, and let me know what you think. Is this enough evidence to suggest he is indeed a monkey, or is it maybe not? If you found the video entertaining, do consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and as usual, have a nice day.